Hi everybody, how's it going? Hope you're all doing well. I'm doing pretty good. I'm working from home for the next month or two, so that's a fun thing. You gotta keep yourself on a schedule. But I'm on a little break, so I thought I'd make a quick video about all the guitars I have. Specifically my electric guitars. I have acoustics and banjos, mandolins, lap steels, all sorts of fun stuff. But yeah, show you my guitars. I've been doing other stuff like movies and things, and I'm a musician, so I don't know. I thought it'd be fun to show you. Yeah, I guess we'll just get started. And as you can tell, I got the ponytail going now. I didn't cut my hair. It's not happening. I'm growing my hair out. Although this beard's probably gonna go. It's getting kind of crazy. I think I'm gonna do a mustache. I'm rambling, but let's talk about my electrics, okay? I've owned about 30 guitars over my life. I have one, two, three, four, five electrics right now. I've had a lot of guitars. They kind of come and go. I've never found the perfect guitar. I think that's a thing that is an unachievable. That's a thing you can chase forever, and like chasing the dragon. It's a bad road to go down. But let's start with let's start with my cheapest, junkiest guitar that I still have a lot of fun with. Let me get it. Okay, this is my Squier Strat. Now, I want to tell you that I went through like an identity crisis for a while where I just couldn't figure out what electric was right for me. My first guitar ever, and I'm going to do a separate video, by the way, where I tell you every guitar I've ever owned because I remember every one and I remember what year they were made and when I had them and what I did with them. But my first guitar was a Washburn, excuse me, black Strat copy. Strat, and it was a piece of shit, but it was like a cheap little starter guitar when I was like 11 or 12. But this is a Squier Strat, okay? And back to that point, I played lots of different guitars, and I always come back to the Strat. Now, like I said, I haven't found the perfect guitar, but Strats are my thing. I like Strats and Telecasters. Telly's actually more for rock, not country. I mean, they're good for country, but they got that bite to them that I think is good for rock. I don't really like humbuckers too much. We'll get on to all of that in a different video, but this was actually my uncle's guitar, and he gave it to me because he doesn't really play guitar anymore. He gave me his amp as well, which I'll demo. It's a fantastic amp, but thank you, Uncle John, for giving me that. But this is was his guitar, so it's very sentimental to me because it's my uncle's axe. You know what I mean? And it's got, I don't know. It's sentimental to have a family member's guitar, and it's a junky little Chinese made Squier. Actually, it was made in the year 2000, but for all its shortcomings, there's something other than the sentimental value. There's something comfortable about it. I honestly think it's just that it is a Strat, and that I have found over thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of playing guitar that it is just the guitar that is most comfortable to me and I feel the most at home with. So it's got a humbucker, and these pickups, aren't good. Nothing about this guitar is great, but surprisingly, it's comfortable to play. And even the fret ends aren't too bad. They're pointing out a little bit. They're not too bad. It's got a like a C neck on it, kind of a thinner C neck. The neck on this feels like my newer Strat. So the neck's actually pretty comfortable, and I love when maple necks don't have that disgusting lacquer on them. I know it protects it, but it's very uncomfortable to play. Basic ass tuners. It's got the 70s style headstock, which is interesting, and this one was made in China. It's quite light. It feels cheap. Like it feels very. I don't know. I mean, of course it's cheap, but it just has this feeling of like stiffness to it. Like it almost feels like a prop guitar in some ways, like it's not a real instrument. I don't know how to describe it, but you can feel the cheapness in it and how it's stiff and it's just was not made very well. But I still enjoy playing it, and I use this one for just screwing around. I do different tunings whenever I want to try out a different tuning. I'll normally pull this one out. Yeah, and it's pretty good. It's got a lot of dings and all sorts of stuff on it, but there's one right there. It's got war paint, but yeah, it's cool. I like the color. It's pretty comfortable to play. It's got like a 9.5 radius fretboard on it. Yeah, something like that. So that's my beater Strat. Let me get my not Paul Reed Smith. What does this look like? Sure looks like a Paul Reed Smith. I've owned one before, a Paul Reed Smith, and it was a pretty nice guitar. It was a student edition, but it was still really good. And this one's actually nicer than that, if you could believe it. This is a Harley Benton. See that Harley Benton knockoff? That I'm not like big on hating on headstocks. Like, people are really picky. I'm normally go with the flow, but that's one ugly ass headstock. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? It's just, that doesn't look very good. That looks like a metal guitar kind of headstock to me, and doesn't really fit with a Paul Reed Smith. But yeah, this is a Harley Benton. This was $175, and it's the best guitar for the price I've ever had. It makes me want to get another Harley Benton, but I'm not going to. I don't think that's not really a good use of my money. But this is good. Now, would I gig with this? I might. I would have to make some adjustments to it, and it's semi-hollow, by the way. It's not fully hollow, but it's semi. You know, this guitar is actually pretty solid. It feels extremely comfortable to play. I know you can't see my lap with it or anything, but and it actually has that like slightly curved top, which my old Paul Reed Smith didn't. So that's a nice feature. It's comfy and pretty looking, and it's got like fake abalone fret markers, and it just has regular ass tuners. So I would change those to locking, and it has these Roswell pickups in it that aren't half bad. I mean, I would put Seymour Duncan 59s in because that's my favorite humbucker, but it's not bad. It's got 24 frets. It's got a coil split, and you can hear yourself talking to it. Now, the coil split on this guitar is kind of useless because, well, obviously there's a volume drop when you're splitting these for single coils, but they don't sound good, you know. And they sound okay. They sound like cheap pickups, but they hold their own. But splitting them, it doesn't sound good. But it's very comfortable to play. And you can see the cheapness in it if you look really in detail. Like, I can't show you on video, but there's just lots of like glue marks and all sorts of bullshit with this guitar. Surprisingly, the fretwork is really good, and it's actually better than my $1,000+ Fender Stratocaster. So Fender sucks with their quality control. But yeah, it's pretty good. I play like fusion stuff on this. It's so comfortable to play. Yeah, and like I said, if I would gig with it, I would just change a couple things out. This bridge also, it's this weird wraparound bridge with this one G-string compensated thing. This bridge is awful. You can't intonate it. It's horrible, but I would change that. You know, am I going to mod this guitar out the wazoo? You know, maybe in the future. It's got such good bones that, you know, just those guitars, when you pick them up, if they just feel right, they feel right. You know, sure, I could go buy a Paul Reed Smith or whatever, but I don't know. When a guitar has the mojo, it's worthwhile to hang on to it, I think, personally. You know, it's not always about, like, the specs. It's about more what it feels like. So this is a good one. I don't gig with it, but it's great to play at home and mess around with. Okay, let's get to... Now I'm going to go to my last guitar with humbuckers. Obviously, like I said, I'm a Strat guy, so I prefer single coils, but, you know, whatever. This looks like Trey Anastasio's guitar, but this is a Fred. Fred Instruments. You might have heard of them. They make Languedoc clones and Jerry Garcia's style guitars, clones of that. I don't remember what the companies he was using. This guitar has got tremendous issues. I'm sorry to be negative, but this guitar, I would say, is not very good. I waited 13 months to get this guitar, an insanely long time to wait. And it's made in China. And, you know, there's great guitars in China. I got my Eastmans. But, you know, in a Chinese factory, like mass-produced. It's just an insanely long time to wait for a mass-produced Chinese-made guitar. Ridiculous. I don't know what I was thinking. I was high or something when I got this. I was really into Fish at the time. I mean, I still love Fish, but I was like really into them at the time. And I just thought it was what I needed. And, you know, it's not. It's a very comfortable playing guitar. And this guitar is fully hollow, by the way. But, you know, the wood and everything looks pretty on camera. It's like veneer. It's not real, you know, solid. This is not a solid wood archtop guitar or hollow body. You know, but I did pay for some upgrades, which the more I play this and I get annoyed by the build quality issues, it almost makes me more angry that I spent more for upgrades. But you know, Seymour Duncan 59s, great humbucking pickups, and it has coil splits right here. That's a cool feature. That's how it is on Languedoc, but I think every guitar should have these two dip switches because it lets you individually split them. And these are pretty good when you split them. I actually played a country show on this guitar, and I didn't have a Strat or anything at the time, and I split the humbuckers, and it was pretty good. Locking tuners, I put those on. It didn't come with locking tuners, but yeah, and an ebony fretboard with 24 frets. It plays pretty well, I have to say. It's a little out of tune, so excuse me, but it's very out of tune, but you can hear acoustically it's an extremely loud instrument. Let me give you another out of tune chord. Boy, that's bad, huh? But this guitar has so many build qualities that I can't even demonstrate it in this video. It would take half an hour. Just awful build quality and quality control. Piss poor quality control. I would never recommend buying this. I would never recommend buying a Fred instrument because the quality control is horrendous. Yeah, don't recommend this at all. It's not the worst piece of shit guitar ever, but I don't recommend this company because you're going to get burned probably, and you're going to be disappointed. So, this is my newest guitar, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, but this is a Yamaha Pacifica. The model number is like 1,000 words long. It's like the Yamaha Pacifica 612 FMX VII or something ridiculous. I don't know. Japanese guitar companies have weird naming systems. Ibanez does it too. Excuse me. But yeah, this is basically a Strat copy. You know, the Pacificas came out, I think, in the 90s because they were just their goal. A lot of session players were playing like super Strats. So Yamaha just decided to make a super Strat, you know, production guitar, which is basically what this is, and it's you know, gotten to. What are the things I don't like about it? Well, it obviously looks like a Strat, but you can see that the horns are a little more exaggerated in how asymmetrical they are. The guitar is much flatter. You know, it does have the armrest and everything, and it's got a belly cut on it, of course, but it's more exaggerated, more flat feeling. You know, these horns aren't rounded. They're more exaggerated, and it is a thinner instrument as well. It's also lighter, which is nice, but it's much thinner. So it doesn't really feel like a Strat, even though it might resemble one. And that was my biggest problem with it, is that, you know, I love Strats. So when I picked this up and started playing it, it felt nice. It's okay. It's pretty well in tune. A little bit out of tune. Okay, very out of tune. My apologies. But it just didn't feel like a Strat, you know, and it just felt there's something off. But what are you going to do? I hate the neck. I mean, it's actually quite comfortable. It's a C shape with a slight D towards the bass side, but it's pretty comfortable. It's actually a little bit thicker than I'm used to with these more modern C necks, but I like it. I like the extra thickness. They put this gloss on the back, though, which I don't know anyone that likes this stuff. It's just sticky, and I sweat when I play, so my hand gets stuck. I didn't realize that it was on the back. These are locking tuners. They're Grover locking tuners. They have the mechanism where they lock up there. It has a Graphtec nut on it. It has Seymour Duncan SSL1s, which are Seymour Duncan's 50 styles pickups. And I don't remember what the humbucker is, but it's pretty good. And then obviously it has 5-way switch, and it has got a push-pull for splitting this. And, oh, the side jack. I don't have the vibrato arm out yet, and then a Wilkinson trem. So this guitar's got some specs, man, right? And it's like $700. So spec-wise, this guitar blows Fender out of the water for the price. And also the build quality is very good on this guitar. Was shocked. You know, it's not like a $2,000 guitar, so you're not going to see that kind of build quality. But I really would have to get out a microscope to like look at imperfections. And it was intonated pretty well and set up pretty well when I got it. So, you know, oh, and show you Graphtec string trees. So, like I said, this thing's stacked. you know, a lot of people say Yamaha's good, man. Their build quality is great, and yeah, I totally agree. I mean, they're not like hip guitars, but their build quality is awesome. This just doesn't feel right to me, but it's the build quality and the features for the price are awesome. So if you're looking for something like this and you don't mind that it's not exactly like a traditional Strat, dude, buy this. This is going to save you a lot of money. I highly recommend it for that. My only other thing, those pickups, they don't do it for me. I like 50s pickups. I prefer 50s single coils to 60s single coils. Something is off in these. Like 50s single coils to me tend to be a little more scooped in my opinion and lower output than 60s, at least from my experience. And these sound like they have a lot of mids in them, which I don't like. So there's something off, and it just sometimes it doesn't sound horrible. Like, don't get me wrong, this isn't some shitty, awful sounding guitar, but it does sound kind of plasticky or fake sometimes. Like, there's not a lot of resonance. And that could simply be because the guitar's so thin, or I don't know, but sometimes it just sounds like it doesn't have the goods. So, next is my last electric. This is my main workhorse guitar. You probably see me play it on the channel. It's the one that I play the most. I just played it for like a 2-month run of Jersey Boys every night, like 9 times a week. This is my Fender Player Plus. I got this back in like November of last year, and it's pretty rocking. It's pretty good. Like I said, Fender's quality control is terrible, and that's no exception with this. The fret ends are jagged. I mean, I got to get this to a luthier and have this worked on, but you know, this guitar was $1,100, so you would expect a little better build quality, but that's just the way things are going these days, right? But yeah, I think it has a 10-inch radius neck, or fingerboard, sorry, which is good for me. I don't like flat fingerboards. Forgot to mention on that Yamaha, it's a 13.75 radius, with almost 14, and it's actually a little bit too flat for me. I like my favorite radius is 9 or 9.5. I like it a little more rounded, or a 9 through 12. 9 through 12, compound is great. But I think this is a 10 or 12. I don't fucking know. I don't remember. But it feels good. It feels good is my point. It's good for chording, and solos are good. 22 frets, the mint green hardware, which looks great. I love mint green. This color is called Opal Spark, and it's very shiny. Probably doesn't come across well, but it's a pretty color. Pal-Ferro fretboard. Fender's locking tuners, which are really good. I haven't had a problem with them. And some shitty plastic nut that was cut improperly because, again, they don't give a fuck. They're not going to set your guitar up well. They don't care. But noiseless pickups, noiseless single coils. These aren't their newest ones. I gotta go in, I'll do a video. They kind of have some deceptive marketing over their new single coils, but these are not the new ones that they put, even though this guitar is relatively new. Model wise, this just came out like a couple months ago. I don't know, man, but these single coils are pretty good. I can't really complain. I mean, they actually are pretty rocking. They're getting better and better with noiseless coils. The only thing about this guitar, like I said, I rock this guitar all the time. It's a great guitar. It plays well. Intonation is a little off and the fret edges are a little off. I got to get this nut out of here because it's fucking garbage. But there's a push-pull pot, basically. You pull that up and it adds the neck in. So if you want to do the telly sound or if you want to put all 3 on, you can do that, which is cool. But as you saw, you got to get your fingernail under there and pop it up. And that's just terrible. I mean, you can't do that while you're playing. Sometimes it doesn't want to come up. Their Ultra Strats have a button right here that you can press. And why they didn't put that in here is beyond me. I don't know. But yeah, it's a pretty good guitar. I mean, I really enjoy playing it. And it's the one that gets the most play. It's just made for me. These Strats are my thing. It's really good. But I'm looking to get something a little more handmade. Not to be elitist, but I think that I'm a professional musician. I play guitar almost professionally, almost every night of the week. I play 40 hours a week. And when I'm not working, I'm playing 1 to 2 hours a day at home after all my other work. So my point is that I play guitar all the time. And I'm just looking for something with a little more glitz to it. Something a little more handmade. professional. Not to say you can't get a great guitar for cheap like that Yamaha. Even that Fender is pretty good if you got some work done on it. But yeah, something like a Sir or an Anderson or something. I'm looking into that. But those are my electrics. I'll do the acoustics and all the other fun ones sometime. And I'll do another video where I show you all the guitars I've ever had. I talk about it. I also show you my amps. I have a ton of stuff, you know. But yeah, that's it. If you got guitars, let me know what you got. Peace out. Have a great day.